event of the summer just got even bigger! Motor City, here we go! I take the whole city down with this.
The Rock at SummerSlam 2023. Yeah, with the recent SAG-AFTRA actors strike, maybe a big name coming back from Hollywood is possible at SummerSlam. Yeah, the Great One last graced us on a WWE screen on the debut of SmackDown on the Fox network, where The Rock and Becky Lynch gave Baron Corbin a slice of humble pie. If you smell what he was cooking. This time, it could be the Australian hot-mouthed newcomer Grayson Waller, who could get a slice of fresh humble pie after receiving similar treats from AJ Styles, John Cena, and most recently, Edge. Waller took a shot at The Rock by calling his in-ring debut on SmackDown better than the Great One's first WWE appearance at Madison Square Garden at Survivor Series 1996. The Rock responded by calling Waller Outback Jackoff on Twitter, and the Aussie invited him to the Grayson Waller effect. It would be, admittedly, a bit odd seeing him return to confront Waller over the whole Roman Reigns thing that a lot of us want to see. But hey, it is what it is, and it's something that could happen, right? Apart from the Great One, here are 7 other big names we could see in our fantasy booking minds returning to SummerSlam. Some of them could be more than a fantasy. Big E could be a very positive frontrunner for a surprise return at the biggest party of the summer, and he suffered a career-threatening and life-altering neck injury on SmackDown in March of 2022. There hasn't been any timeline for a potential return, and he recently stated so himself on the After the Bell podcast, saying, "I feel great. Unfortunately, I don't have a timetable. The great thing is, I feel 100%. I don't feel like someone who broke their neck. My mobility is incredible and great. My strength is great. I have no issues whatsoever." It's been 14 long months since the freak injury happened, and things seem to be back to normal for the former WWE champion, at least from what we can tell on social media. But even if he knows when he can return, it isn't going to be spoiled in an interview, right? Neck injuries are very serious. But as we've seen with other enduring superstars like Edge, it's not impossible to make a healthy return to the ring. Big E's fellow New Day member, Kofi Kingston, could be ready and waiting for return, if everything goes right. Big E got injured in March of 2022. 8 days shy of a year later, Kofi Kingston suffered an ankle injury during a brawl on SmackDown. He got a surgery done shortly thereafter, and the rumor mill indicated that he'd only be out of action for 2 months. It's been 4 months since then, and he could be a very ideal and real candidate for a return at SummerSlam. A man who's been presented in a shocking way on WWE television for a majority of his career is Bray Wyatt. His return to WWE was met with a lot of hype post-pandemic, but it quickly died down as his new interplay with a character inside of his head, outside of his head, the Uncle Howdy thing just didn't really hit the ground running. And after it was rumored that Brock Lesnar rejected a match against him at WrestleMania in Los Angeles, he was put in a good role, a strong one, to face Bobby Lashley instead. That fell apart when Wyatt suffered an undisclosed injury, and he's been out of action for months. It was recently reported by Fightful Select that Wyatt may still not be medically cleared. One thing is for sure, WWE is going to want to get a lot out of Wyatt that we haven't seen since his return. With all that fan anticipation, he's easily one of the guys that we at Sportskeeda get asked about the most. And the Eater of Worlds has a lot of fans who would want to gobble up whatever he's doing next. Many fans soured on him this year after his long built-to pitch-black match at Royal Rumble was just a neon-lit brawl that maybe didn't live up to all that hype. But it's happened before. He's overcome all of this before. We want Wyatt. You're going to hear some people saying it at some point. Former United States and NXT champion Bobby Roode hasn't wrestled a match in over a year now, and he's had some major surgeries. given that a fusion and cervical surgery is a very demanding and physically taxing thing to go through, and he's north of 40, many aren't giving him much of a chance to return to the ring, but we're not writing off a glorious return at SummerSlam. No matter what, Roode has had a very great career, winning titles, making a mark not just in WWE, but also in Impact Wrestling, where the likes of Kurt Angle called him one of his top opponents ever. Although he seems like a least likely candidate, you can still see something special happen with him. A return that would certainly stir up a lot of fans of female wrestling superstars and just the internet wrestling community as a whole would be Nia Jax. Yeah, she was undoubtedly one of the most shocking releases during the pandemic era, and because she's had a full makings of a WWE lifer at the time, it was just surprising. After getting released, her interest in returning to wrestling seemed questionable based on what you could see on social media, and only had a one-off appearance coming back at the 2023 Women's Royal Rumble, where everyone in the ring teamed up to take her out of the match. The former WWE Women's Champion is still not like most girls, as the song says, and would still play a different role in the current makeup of today's WWE Women's division. The most ideal return for this SummerSlam is a cool one, and nobody in WWE has defined the coolness more in the last few decades than Carlito. He made a surprise return at Backlash in Puerto Rico to help Bad Bunny and the LWO fend off Damian Priest and the Judgment Day, and he received a huge reaction from his hometown crowd in Puerto Rico. With rumors spreading that the WWE has already signed the former Intercontinental Champion to a fresh deal, Great North Executive Vice President Jack Kilby essentially confirmed that this may be the direction that we're heading in, revealing that many different independent wrestling promoters had to, quote, race to book Carlito before he eventually rejoined WWE. And unfortunately, by the time we locked him down for September 15th, we went through the process of arranging his appearance, he was going to be in a high-profile match. Another name that we get asked about all the time, when is he coming back? Is he coming back? Is the one you were expecting by this point. 14-time world champion Randy Orton. After his father, WWE Hall of Famer Cowboy Bob Orton, told our very own Bill Apter of Sportskeeda that his son's injury recovery wasn't going as well as some had hoped, he gave a more positive update on the Kurt Angle show recently, revealing that Randy Orton has recovered from his long-running back injury that has put him on the shelf for more than a year. Drew McIntyre and Matt Riddle seemingly need a partner to even the odds against the trio of Imperium. Rev Theory, the artist behind Orton's Voices theme song, recently released a new version of it, and that seems to get a lot of people connecting dots, with all reports indicating that the WWE is set for a slithering return of the Viper. Given that we've had a streak of incredible surprise returns and wrestling fans love themselves some returns, this would be the biggest and most realistic return that we could see at the biggest party of the summer in Motor City, Michigan. Is there anybody we missed out on? Let us know in the comments below. And check out these other great videos from Sportskeeda Wrestling.